Hi there, welcome to the channel, welcome back for return viewers. You're watching the Christchurch Review of Books, and I'm Kerry. Today, just a quick once-over review maybe of a book I finished about a week ago, and that book here is Guitar Man, a six-string odyssey by Will Hodgkinson. Now this is the third book I've read by this author, and the first one was This House is Full of Yogis, which was about his adolescence when he had a problem with his parents. His mother was a sex writer, and his father basically fell in with a Eastern religious cult, and all the problems that caused for young Will growing up in that situation. And the other book I read a couple of years ago was a thick chunkster called In Perfect Harmony. Now that was a fascinating book that looked at the less celebrated, less well-known hit records in the UK in the period between like 1969 and 1979. A lot of songs I remember that sent me down rabbit holes looking up songs on Spotify and other streaming music services. A lot of stuff I remembered, a lot of stuff I didn't actually know the name of, songs I half heard as a child on the radio, and it brought a lot back to me, and it was fascinating learning the stories of those songs and the people behind them. And that's pretty much Will Hodgkinson's specialist subject: music, musicians, popular culture, that type of thing. He is a jobbing writer on those type of things. Now this is an older book by him. This one was written in the early 2000s, about 2004, 2005, going by the things in the text, and it sees him in his 30s with a young family, a long-suffering wife, which kind of humours him in his efforts, and two very young children. Now he gets the idea one day that he wants to basically pick up the guitar and learn how to play it. Now that is apparently quite a difficult thing to do as an adult. Most accomplished guitar players start as a young person, teenager if not younger, and learn all their skills throughout their life. But Hodgkinson thinks he can do it, and he sets himself a goal of performing at a live concert within a couple of months' time, and performing a particular song he hears on a record called Angie, and it's apparently complicated but very beautiful. And that's basically the task he sets himself. And I won't go into too much details of this book. Like I said, this is a brief review, but it's a lot of fun. It's very entertaining. Hodgkinson, as usual, is very self-effacing. He's not doesn't big himself up or his abilities. We basically, as we learn the guitar along with him, we learn about the history of the instrument, its role in history of culture and music, the main proponents over the years of the instrument, and the still living superstars, which have kind of like faded into the background. People who wrote the songs or first demonstrate a certain guitar technique or something which was adopted by all the pop and rock stars, all that type of thing. And their advice to him when he visits them is quite disconcerting. They say it's very simple. Most pop songs are like 2 or 3 chords. So you think, oh well, that's great, I can do it. And then they turn around and say, oh yes, you've got to do this complicated stuff with your fingers and do a melody and a harmony and whatever all at the same time. So that kind of stymies his efforts a bit. And at the same time as talking to these famous people, or formerly famous people, it's also the story of him and his friendship with a couple of guys who he hopes to form the band with, a gentleman called Pete and a gentleman called Doyle. And they kind of fall in and out as friends over the time of the book covers, and they're quite hilarious, kind of comedy kind of duo which kind of back up Will in his efforts. And as part of his efforts, he actually travels to the United States. He actually damages his guitar before he leaves, so he has to go through the process of buying a new guitar in the US. And he visits the main cultural centres of guitarhood, like Memphis, Nashville, New Orleans. Meets some of the well-known people. He actually visits Roger McGuinn from the Byrds in Florida as a hurricane is verging down, and he has to basically let them run away from the hurricane after the interview. And he visits some well-known and less well-known people, and all the mystique and legends about guitar players and the blues and all that type of thing, like the crossroads with all that type of stuff. And we follow his adventures in the United States, which doesn't seem like quite the shiny, polished place of legend to Will anyway. He does remark on how seedy a lot of these areas seem. Now, The book has a happy ending. Like I said, he gives himself a deadline to perform at a concert, and I don't think it's too much of a spoiler to say that the concert does go ahead. And like I said, it's a happy ending. Like I said, it's very enjoyable. He's very self-effacing. He doesn't take things too seriously. There's some moments of crisis in his adventure, and it was quite what can I say, revelation to me, the what goes into learning an instrument, and whether you learn music or just play it by ear. I mean, personally, I haven't picked up an instrument since my school days, when along with my entire generation, we were pretty much forced to play the recorder, that wind instrument, and of course I played it very terribly, and I think there's a whole generation's scarred as a result of that experience, and probably never wanted to touch a musical instrument again in their lives as a result. Now, like I said, this is really interesting, an adult learning a musical instrument. It's just like it says on the cover, a Six String Odyssey. It's a little adventure that Will Hodgkinson goes on, and we're allowed to follow along. So nothing too deep and meaningful, really. There's a few meditations on friendships, maybe, and the meaning of music in our society, that type of thing. But, you know, it's just enjoyable. It's just an entertaining read that I dipped in and out of, like, at the end of the day, for a couple of weeks. So that is Guitar Man by Will Hodgkinson. Apparently he's got a follow-up book for this one called Song Man, where he attempts to do the same thing by writing a song. I have yet to locate a copy of that in my usual used book haunts, so that's just another one to look out for in the future. Okay, we'll see you again next time. Coming up probably next will be a book haul video for the month of January. I may not get it out until the 1st or 2nd of February, seeing how things go. I think I know I've got all the books that I've acquired for January already, and I don't think anything else is going to turn up, so I know what's going to be included. So we'll get on to that next. Okay, have a good day. See ya.